You know, you could easily consume like 4,000 calories today, never feel a single hunger pang, and still, biologically speaking anyway, starve to death.
Yeah, absolutely. Because human survival doesn't actually rely on, simply getting enough food or just feeling full.
Right.
It relies on this hyper-specific, totally non-negotiable list of exactly 40 essential biological components, plus one very controversial addition.
Which is exactly what we're unpacking in today's deep dive. We are looking at a really comprehensive course article from the My-Nutri-Diary app. It's titled The 40+1 Essential Nutrients.
It really lays out the ultimate biological shopping list.
It does, and we're going to decode the exact raw materials you need to survive, why your body forces you to source them from your environment, and, well, the actual chemical mechanisms behind what they do once you swallow them.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff.
But before we get into the list itself, we need to define our terms here. Because when this source says a nutrient is essential, it's using that word in a very strict, literal sense, isn't it?
Very literal. I mean, your body is essentially a miraculous chemical processing plant. It manufactures thousands of different compounds entirely in-house.
Okay.
So it can synthesize its own cholesterol, certain amino acids, various fats. Those are technically non-essential nutrients.
Because you don't actually need to eat them.
Exactly. Your internal machinery just builds them from scratch. But essential nutrients, those are the specific raw materials your body absolutely cannot manufacture. Like zero in-house production.
So it's basically an import-only biological economy.
Yes, that's a great way to put it.
So if I don't physically put these 40 specific items in my mouth and swallow them, the supply chain is broken, the internal machinery stalls, and eventually, I get sick.
Well, the machinery literally starts cannibalizing itself to find those missing components.
Wow.
And yeah, eventually the whole system just shuts down. And if we want to understand how to optimize that system, we actually can't start with food.
Oh, really?
No, we have to start with the environment where every single one of these chemical reactions takes place.
You're talking about water.
I am.
Which, honestly, when I first read the source, felt like a little bit of a cop-out.
Or cop-out.
Well, yeah, because we're composed of, what, roughly 60% water by weight?
Yeah.
So when I think of a nutrient, I think of something that provides energy or, builds muscle. Water is 0 calories.
Yeah.
Is it really biologically accurate to call it a nutrient, or is it just kind of the delivery river?
Oh, it is absolutely the ultimate foundational nutrient, precisely because it dictates the efficiency of everything else on that list.
Okay, how so?
Well, it's not just a passive river. Water actively regulates your thermal temperature. It balances the osmotic pressure in your cells. It's the solvent that allows the electrical impulses in your nervous system to even fire.
Right.
If you're dehydrated, your blood plasma volume actually drops,
Right.
which means your heart has to work exponentially harder just to push oxygen to your brain.
Wow, okay.
Okay.
So without the baseline fluid dynamics, the rest of the 40+1 list is basically useless.
Yeah.
Because it can't be transported.
Exactly. It can't be transported or utilized. And the source actually pulls data directly from the National Academy of Medicine to quantify that baseline. They don't leave it to guesswork.
Give us the numbers.
So healthy men require 3.0 liters of fluids daily. That's about 13 cups. And healthy women require 2.2 liters, or roughly 9 cups.
And I want to clarify something for you listening right now, because I definitely got tripped up on this too. That 3.0 or 2.2 liters is in addition to the water you naturally absorb from eating foods.
Yes.
Like, cucumbers, apples, spinach. You still need that baseline fluid intake on top of that.
Right. So if you're walking around feeling lethargic, before you start biohacking your diet with expensive powders, you really have to hit that fluid baseline.
Okay, so we've got the internal environment optimized, the aqueous solution is balanced. Now the processing plant needs actual electrical power to run.
The energy engine.
Right, which brings us to macronutrients.
The macros, yeah. This is where your body derives its literal caloric energy, and we measure that in kilocalories per gram. The math is pretty straightforward here.
Let's hear it.
Proteins and carbohydrates both provide 4 kilocalories per gram, but fat is the heavy hitter. Fat provides a really dense 9 kilocalories per gram.
Which is huge. Oh, and the text also mentions ethanol. So alcohol provides 7 kilocalories per gram, though obviously that does not make the essential survival list.
No. A fun evolutionary quirk maybe, but definitely not essential for human survival.
Fair enough. But this brings us to the core mystery of the title, right? The 40+1 essential nutrients.
And +1.
The +1 is carbohydrates. And reading through the My-Nutri-Diary article, It gets that special, slightly separated designation because calling carbs essential is actually a massive point of debate in the scientific community.
It's a fascinating biochemical technicality, really. I mean, if we look at strict survival, the human body is remarkably adaptable. You can actually meet your baseline energy requirements using only fat and protein.
Really, just fat and protein.
Yeah. Through a process called gluconeogenesis, your liver can actually manufacture the trace amounts of glucose that your brain strictly needs. It just builds it out of amino acids and fat byproducts.
Which is basically the entire premise of the keto diet,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I mean, you see people running ultramarathons on zero-carb diets today. So I was reading this thinking, haven't we definitively proved that carbs are totally optional?
We've proved they are optional for survival.
Oh, okay.
We have not proved they are optional for peak performance. And that is exactly where the source makes it stand. If you completely drop carbohydrates, your athletic performance, particularly explosive power and high-intensity output, drops significantly.
Okay, let me make sure I understand the mechanism behind that.
Hmm.
It's about how the fuel's actually stored, right?
All right.
So carbs are converted into glycogen, which is stored directly inside the muscle tissue itself.
Yes.
It's like having, I don't know, a tank of lighter fluid right next to the engine. Boom, instant energy.
That's a perfect analogy.
Whereas converting body fat into usable energy is a much slower, more oxygen-intensive process, like trying to burn a massive, thick oak log.
It is a brilliant way to visualize it, honestly. Fat oxidation simply cannot keep up with the rapid energy demands of high-intensity exertion. You will just hit a wall.
Makes sense.
And furthermore, the article points out this really glaring gap in the current data. There are 0 long-term, multi-decade studies proving that a strict zero-carbohydrate diet is completely safe or harmless over an entire human lifetime.
Oh, wow. So because of that lack of long-term safety data, combined with the undeniable drop in peak physical output, carbohydrates earn that +1 status.
Exactly.
They might not be strictly required to keep you breathing, but they are absolutely essential if you want your system running at maximum capacity.
Which naturally leads us to the heaviest fuel source you just mentioned, fats.
Right, the 9 kilocalories per gram.
Yeah. Since they deliver that massive payload, they are incredible energy reserves. But the body doesn't just use fat for storage. There are 2 specific types of fat that your internal factory cannot synthesize, making them fiercely essential.
The famous omegas, omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids.
You got it.
And the biology here just blew my mind because I always assumed fat was just, passive insulation or fuel. But your body uses these 2 specific essential fats to manufacture a class of localized hormones. What are they called again? Eicosanoids.
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 They act as biochemical signaling molecules. They are basically the communication network for your immune system and your cardiovascular system. But what's truly wild is that the eicosanoids built from omega-3s and the ones built from omega-6s are locked in this physiological tug of war.
They do opposite things.
The exact opposite thing.
Right. The text outlines this incredible contrast. So omega-3s, which you're getting from fatty fish, walnuts, flaxseed, they're used to produce eicosanoids that reduce inflammation, dilate blood vessels, and promote overall heart health.
The peacemakers.
They are the peacemakers. But omega-6s, which we get really heavily from industrial plant oils like soy, corn, sunflower oils, they are used to produce eicosanoids that actually trigger inflammation, constrict blood vessels, and elevate blood pressure.
I mean, it sounds alarming when you say it like that.
It does. My immediate reaction reading the article was, okay, if omega-6 causes inflammation and high blood pressure, why is it on the essential survival list? Why don't we just ban it from our diets completely?
Because if you banned it, the first time you got a paper cut, you might bleed out or die of a localized infection.
Wait, seriously?
Seriously. We have totally vilified inflammation in modern wellness culture. But acute inflammation is literally how you survive the physical world. When you get injured or a pathogen enters your body, you need those omega-6 eicosanoids to sound the alarm.
Okay.
They constrict the blood vessels to slow the bleeding, and they trigger the inflammatory response to rush white blood cells to the area to fight the infection.
Oh, I see. So the omega-6 is basically the fire alarm and the emergency response team.
Exactly. You desperately need that system. The problem we're facing today isn't that omega-6 is inherently bad. The problem is the ratio.
The ratio in our diet.
Yes. Our modern food environment is completely saturated with industrial seed oils, so we are consuming massive, unprecedented amounts of omega-6.
So the fire alarm is constantly ringing, and the body is existing in this state of chronic low-grade inflammation.
That's exactly what's happening. So the solution isn't elimination. The biological imperative is balance. You want to consciously ensure you're importing enough omega-3s to counterbalance the omega-6s.
Got it.
If you know you are eating foods cooked in sunflower or corn oil throughout the week, you need to actively introduce those walnuts, that salmon or flaxseed. You have to give your body the raw materials to produce the peacemaker hormones to calm the system back down.
Okay, so we've covered the fluid environment, the macronutrient fuel, and the signaling hormones. But the body also needs physical structure, right?
Absolutely.
It needs to repair muscle, synthesize skin, and build cellular walls. And that brings us to the bricks and mortar, proteins.
Though protein is actually a bit of a misnomer when we talk about digestion.
What do you mean?
Well, when you eat a piece of chicken, your body doesn't just take a microscopic chicken fiber and paste it onto your bicep.
That would be convenient, but weird.
Right. Your digestive system relies on enzymes to dismantle that protein down into its fundamental chemical components, amino acids.
And this is where the precision of human biology gets truly staggering. Because the source notes there are up to 20 different amino acids that make up the human structure,
Right.
but exactly 9 of them are essential. These are the 9 specific puzzle pieces your internal factory simply cannot manifest.
And their roles are so highly specialized. If you're missing even one, the downstream effects are immediate.
Let me give an example from the text because this really connected for me. Take the essential amino acid tryptophan.
Oh, a great example.
You literally cannot make it. You have to eat it. And your body uses tryptophan as the direct chemical precursor to synthesize serotonin, the neurotransmitter that regulates your mood and your appetite.
Yeah.
And then serotonin is converted into melatonin, which regulates your sleep cycles.
So think about that. If you are experiencing persistent insomnia or you're struggling with unexplained mood drops, you might not just be stressed. You might literally be facing a structural supply chain issue.
Your brain is trying to build sleep hormones, but it's looking at an empty warehouse because you haven't ingested enough tryptophan.
Exactly.
Or another one from the list, lysine. Absolutely critical for building strong bones, regulating antibodies for the immune system, and synthesizing collagen.
You have to import it.
You have to.
Yeah.
And what I love about this source is that it proves you don't need a $100 powdered supplement to get these. Real whole foods are incredibly efficient delivery systems.
They are the original biochemical care packages.
Right. Think about a simple, cheap bowl of lentils. According to the article's data, that one bowl hits a massive payload of these essentials.
Just packed with them.
Yeah, you get isoleucine for immune defense, leucine for tissue repair, lysine for your bones, phenylalanine, threonine for healthy skin, tryptophan for your sleep, and valine for mental focus, just by eating some lentils.
It highlights how perfectly adapted our digestive systems are to extract complex compounds from the natural world, which brings us to the final tier of our biological shopping list.
All right, let's review. We have the water, the macro fuel, the omega hormones, and the amino acid bricks. Now we need the spark plugs.
The micronutrients, the vitamins and minerals.
Yes. The article lists 13 essential vitamins, completely split into 2 very different functional teams, water-soluble and fat-soluble.
And that distinction completely dictates how you need to eat them.
Really?
Yeah. So the water-soluble vitamins, which include your entire B vitamin complex for nerve function and energy, plus vitamin C, they move through your body's fluid systems. Because they dissolve in water, your body actually cannot store them for long.
Oh, so they just...
Any excess is simply excreted in your urine.
Meaning you need a constant daily supply chain. You can't just eat an orange on Sunday and expect your vitamin C levels to hold until Thursday.
Exactly. The fat-soluble vitamins, on the other hand, A, D, E, and K, they're absorbed alongside the dietary fats you eat. And your body can store these long-term, stockpiling them in your liver and your fatty tissues.
There was a detail about vitamin C in the text that actually changed how I'm going to prepare my dinners.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Vitamin C is vital for collagen production, wound healing, absorbing iron. But the molecule itself is incredibly fragile. The article notes that simply cooking your food can completely destroy it.
It's true. The thermal stress of boiling or roasting literally shears the molecular bonds of ascorbic acid apart. It degrades really rapidly under heat.
So having raw vegetables or fresh fruit in your daily diet isn't just a, culinary preference for some crunch. It's a chemical necessity to ensure the vitamin C survives the journey to your bloodstream intact.
And working in tandem with those vitamins are the inorganic elements of the earth. minerals. The course breaks these down simply by the daily volume your body demands.
Yeah, I always assumed trace minerals meant they were somehow less important, like they were optional.
Hmm.
But looking at this, it's purely about literal weight.
Yeah, just volume.
If your body requires more than 100 milligrams a day, it's categorized as a macro mineral. That's calcium for bone density, magnesium for synthesizing proteins and heart rhythm, and potassium for regulating cellular blood pressure.
And if the biological requirement is under 100 milligrams, it's a trace mineral or micromineral. But their impact is still massive.
It really is. I mean, iron is a trace mineral.
Yeah.
But without iron, your body cannot manufacture hemoglobin. Without hemoglobin, your red blood cells literally cannot grab onto oxygen molecules.
Right.
You could be breathing heavily, but at a cellular level, you would suffocate.
It's terrifying.
Then you have zinc, which acts as a catalyst for over 300 different enzymes and drives wound healing. And selenium, which slows tissue aging and protects cells from oxidative damage.
So when we zoom out and look at this entire matrix 3.0 liters of water, balancing massive omega-6 exposure with omega-3s, sourcing 9 specific amino acids, maintaining 13 fragile vitamins, and juggling all these macro and trace minerals.
It is deeply overwhelming. I read this 40+1 list, and my immediate modern convenience reaction was, why on earth am I going to the grocery store to meticulously plan my lentils and walnuts? I should just go to the pharmacy, buy a massive jar of all-in-one multivitamin pills, and just be done with it.
Right. The supplement aisle looks like a perfect scientific shortcut.
Exactly.
But it is the most tempting trap in modern nutrition. And the My-Nutri-Diary article takes a notoriously hardline stance against it. The explicit warning is that supplements never replace a balanced diet, and for the vast majority of people, they are completely unnecessary and potentially harmful.
I really want to dig into the harmful part, because the common logic is, hey, a little extra vitamin C or some extra iron can't hurt. I'll just pee out what I don't need. It's biological insurance. How can taking a health supplement be dangerous?
Because human biology is a system of incredibly delicate feedback loops, and pills bypass the natural absorption limits of the human gut.
What do you mean?
Well, when you eat a whole food, say a handful of spinach, the iron and vitamins are bound up in a complex matrix of fiber, water, and other compounds. Your body absorbs it slowly, extracting exactly what it needs.
But a pill isolates a massive, unnatural dose of a single chemical.
Yes. And remember those fat-soluble vitamins we discussed? Vitamins A, D, E, and K.
The ones you store.
Right, because your body stores them in your fat and liver. If you take high-dose supplements blindly, those chemicals can accumulate to highly toxic levels. You can literally poison your liver with vitamin A supplements.
Oh, wow.
Furthermore, high doses of isolated minerals can aggressively interact with prescription medications, basically blocking their efficacy.
So what is the actionable rule of thumb here for the listener? How do we know if we actually need a supplement?
The source provides a very clear, uncompromising directive, the blood test rule.
The blood test rule.
You should only ever consume a specific supplement if a blood test administered by a medical doctor explicitly proves you have a clinical deficiency in that exact nutrient. You do not guess based on something you heard. You do not supplement blindly.
Though the text does carve out a couple of very specific, scientifically backed exceptions to that rule, primarily based on life stages.
Yes, there are a few universal vulnerabilities. For instance, pregnant women are almost universally advised to take folic acid supplements.
Right.
Because a deficiency in the earliest weeks of pregnancy can cause severe neural tube defects in the developing fetus. Additionally, older adults, especially those in colder climates who get very little direct sunlight, often require vitamin D supplementation to prevent severe bone demineralization, since aging skin becomes less efficient at synthesizing it from the sun.
But the key takeaway from the article is that even in those specific cases, it requires a doctor's consultation.
Absolutely.
Because the fundamental truth is that real food is an ecosystem. A walnut isn't just an omega-3 delivery vehicle. It's a synergistic package of fats, fibers, and trace minerals that all help each other get absorbed safely.
You cannot out-supplement a poorly constructed diet. The human body evolved to extract the 40+1 nutrients from the natural environment, not from isolated plastics.
Which completely reframes the way we need to think about eating. We started this deep dive talking about the fact that you can eat thousands of calories and still starve biologically because food isn't just bulk.
It's a highly coordinated supply chain. It starts with setting the internal fluid pressure with your daily liters of water.
It requires fueling the engine with macronutrients, and leveraging the +1 of carbohydrates to ensure your muscles have the explosive glycogen they need for peak performance.
It means consciously navigating the modern food environment by actively eating omega-3s to calm the fires set by industrial omega-6 seed oils.
It's about securing the 9 essential amino acid puzzle pieces like tryptophan and lysine so your body can actually build serotonin, melatonin, and bone tissue.
And finally, protecting the fragile micromanagers, like ensuring you eat raw produce so the molecular bonds of vitamin C survive to maintain your immune system.
If you're listening to this right now, I challenge you to look at whatever you are eating for your very next meal through this lens. Don't look at it as just lunch or comfort food. Look at the plate and ask yourself, what exactly is this importing into my biological factory? Am I delivering the raw materials my brain needs to function, or am I just dumping empty calories onto the conveyor belt?
And if we take that step further, it leaves us with a truly profound biological mystery to consider. I mean, we've seen exactly how intricate this system is, demanding a hyper-specific list of trace minerals, fragile vitamins, and precise amino acids just to maintain baseline operations.
Yeah.
So it begs the question, how much of the modern malaise we all feel, that persistent 3.00 p.m. brain fog, the chronic fatigue, the low-grade anxiety, the poor sleep, how much of that isn't an illness or character flaw at all?
What do you mean?
What if millions of us are simply suffering from a missing invisible shipment of a single essential trace mineral or an amino acid that we've unknowingly cut out of our routine diets?
Wow. It makes you realize that true health isn't a vague concept. It is a very specific, actionable equation. Until next time, take care of your internal supply chains.